And newly discovered evidence is now suggesting that a Texas father who was executed 10 years ago for killing his 3 daughters may have been innocent all along. Cameron Todd Willingham was sentenced to death in 1992 after being convicted of murdering his daughters by burning down the home they were in. However, that was all according to arson analysis that was later discredited. But the conviction was also based on key testimony from a jailhouse informant. And now even that testimony is being put into question. So could the state have executed a wrongfully convicted man? That's exactly what the Innocence Project is taking a closer look at. And joining me now to discuss is a staff attorney at the Innocence Project, Bryce Benjet. Bryce, thanks for joining me.
Oh, thanks for having me.
So I want to start with the evidence that's already been discredited, and that's the arson analysis. Can you talk about the gaping holes that existed in that first round of testing?
Yeah, again, this was a horrible fire that took place just before Christmas in 1991. And the 3 Willingham children were killed in a fire that was initially unquestioned. But then arson investigators looked at the fire with evidence and science that was really outdated at the time, and certainly now uniformly discredited.
Now, the other piece of evidence was testimony from a jailed man named Johnny Webb. Just so the audience is clear, can you talk about his relationship to Willingham and why that testimony was so strategic?
Oh, absolutely. So in this case, you had a man who had presumably no motive to murder his children. And then you had scientific evidence, faulty, indicating that this was an intentionally set fire. But again, a jury needed some reason for this to have happened, and Johnny Webb provided that for the state. Webb claimed that during a really implausible conversation that he alleged took place at the jail, that Willingham confessed to having murdered his children and intentionally setting that fire. This, again, was discredited even on its face, but the jury had to believe it because of the arson testimony. Now, flash forward, when the arson testimony has been discredited, we now have to look again at what Webb had to say and why Webb might have said that.
Well, going off what you're talking about, you know, of course, the Innocence Project has discovered documents, which I think is what you were just about to talk about. You know, can you tell us about what you found?
Yeah, all along, and at the trial, Johnny Webb testified that he had been offered nothing in return. And in fact, the prosecutor, a man named John Jackson, who became a judge, had said, in fact, there's nothing I can do for you. That was what the jury heard and gave them reason to believe what ordinarily might not be believable from Mr. Webb. What we have now discovered are documents in which it really appears, and these documents suggest that there might have actually been a deal provided to Mr. Webb. And that is something that is uniformly recognized in the law as a reason to overturn convictions, if there is knowing evidence that this person was not telling the truth that was not provided to the defense. And so what we have discovered is a handwritten note from the prosecutor's own file that says that Webb was to receive a second-degree robbery conviction on charges that he was facing because of his cooperation in Willingham. And that, to us, appears to be a smoking gun type document indicating a deal. There is another note that we've discovered, which was only 2 months after the conviction of Mr. Willingham, which is attributed to the prosecutor Jackson, in which he informs the clerk to tell the prison system that Webb received a sentence of second-degree robbery, even though Webb claimed at trial, testified at trial under oath, that he was convicted of an aggravated offense. So again, none of this adds up. And so
it is incredible. You know, lawyers obviously are now putting an official request in with the Texas Board of Pardons and Paroles to exonerate Willingham. But the ultimate decision will be made by Governor Rick Perry. Do you think the chances are good that this conviction will be overturned? And you only have about 45 seconds left.
Oh, sure. Again, this is all information that was really never before the Board of Pardons and Paroles, was never in any meaningful sense before Governor Perry. The picture of this case is completely different now. We know that there's no scientific evidence supporting an arson. We now know there's evidence that Johnny Webb had a deal, and that was, it appears to have been hidden for decades. And so in this case where the death penalty is involved, and this evidence that is exculpatory continues to dribble out, we think that the governor needs to take a hard look at this, and an investigation needs to be done. Again, in a world where we have such turmoil, we need to treasure the basic human rights here. And in no case other than a death penalty case is it more important that our government entities, our courts, our boards of pardons and paroles receive accurate information.
Absolutely.
And it does not appear that that happened here.
Absolutely. Well, Bryce Benjet, staff attorney at the Innocence Project, thank you so much.
Thank you.